Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 24 of the Unknown Comics Podcast. I'm Brandon. There's Chris.
Yep.
There's Tanner.
I'm here.
Hi, everybody. All right, let's get Twitch chat pulled up. Idlewolf, howdy. Hi, Idlewolf. Well, thank you to everybody joining us this week. Again, we are your weekly geekdom podcast. And something vibrated on the table. I felt your phone go off. It's probably your wife texting you, isn't it? It is, isn't it?
Yes.
It is. Yeah.
I didn't hear the noise, though. So that was
All right. Well, let's get to it. So, was it this week that it dropped, or did it drop last week?
What was that about?
Love, Death, and Robots.
Last week.
Last week.
Tanner's just now caught up this week.
I'm all caught up.
And you hadn't watched season 1 prior to this.
Not till 2 days ago.
Right. Which season 1, quite a bit more episodes.
And I think some of the episodes are quite a bit longer. I feel like these were shorter.
Yeah. Which,
they had random times.
yeah, and COVID.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the shortest one, this one was like 5 minutes. The Christmas one, which I thought was awesome.
That one was pretty good.
That was one of my favorites.
Where like Santa
the
Claus
two kids
is
come
like-
down to see Santa Claus. And
Yeah.
it's like this demon alien out of like.
It throws up a present.
It's like literally like it's like a Guillermo del Toro monster.
Yeah.
I like that she was like, what would have happened if we weren't good?
Yeah. No, that was hilarious.
Yeah.
That it.
I was telling Tanner the day the snow in the desert one, for a
Yes.
minute, it took me a while to realize that was not real.
Yeah. So here's the backstory of Love, Death, and Robots. The main two creators, one is David Fincher. So he is the director that's responsible for like the Girl with Dragon Tattoo movies and stuff like that. Just very, very dark themed film director.
Yeah.
Well, then he paired with Tim Miller, which Tim Miller, you know from Deadpool.
Yeah.
So he has a 3D effects studio called Blur. And they, for the longest time, were doing video game cinematic trailers. So like Star Wars: The Old Republic was one that I remember they did.
Yeah.
You know, very photorealistic, awesome trailers. Well, he was the one that Ryan Reynolds went to create the concept video for Deadpool.
That leaked and all of a sudden
leaked
got super popular.
video.
And you know, because it was such a high quality of animation that it finally picked up and yeah, they're really good at that photorealistic.
Yeah.
As good as as photorealistic as you can be. There's still one thing that I don't care how good it is when you see people's mouths move.
Yeah.
There's just something about
They don't
this
move natural.
that just never. Nobody's gotten it yet.
Yeah. I guess people have gotten close.
Yeah.
But it's still, which is in a way is weird because you have so many people that actually use all the dots and everything now to kind of capture a lot of that stuff. And then you think in a lot of movies they actually go back and re-record the audio.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is it's just so hard to sync audio to the animation.
Yeah.
That exactly, right?
Mm-hmm. Because
so much of your facial movements dictate the sound that if it doesn't match up exactly, like it tells, right? You know, it's like when you have bad, what they call in films ADR, right? It's after dialogue recording, right? So they shot a scene, the audio is not usable because of machines in the background and stuff like that. So they had the actor come back in and ADR it. Well, good ADR, you can't tell what it is, but for whatever reason, like 3D animation, just like you can't ADR that, right? I don't know why.
It is interesting. I thought the one with Michael B. Jordan was disappointing overall. The video, but it was weird. It was almost like they still took his actual face, like he just got in a booth and recorded everything he needed to. Yeah, and then they animated everything else around him. Yeah, it was kind of.
There were sometimes I was like, "Is this hybrid? Is it live action and is this face live action?" Because there were times where I was looking at it and
because they had live action in the Volume 1 with Topher Grace.
Yeah.
With his fridge.
But I mean, like there was a clear distinction what should be live action, what should be animated in that one. They didn't try to like fool you or anything. So that's it was
my absolute favorite episode was the farmers with the mech suits.
Yes. Yeah, from season 1.
By far.
No, it is that one is just by far the best. Like I want to see like a world
of that.
where these farmers just do.
Well, I want to know more about like, are they on Earth and these are alien invaders, or are they farmers on another planet?
On an alien planet, exactly.
Yeah.
You know, and maybe part of it is so good because you don't know, right? Is the mystery of it. It's kind of like the whole reason I really don't want them to do A Quiet Place 2. I like not knowing.
So are you going to see it?
Yeah, I probably will.
Yeah.
But
it's out.
But it's like I kind of like the mystery of we don't know exactly what predicated everything or
Well,
how
that'd
it.
be like what J.J. Abrams movies that he's done.
Oh, the Cloverfield?
Yeah, all the Cloverfield stuff. Like, you still have no idea what the crap's happening, right?
Yeah.
But it's... And I think... Wasn't Super 8 part of that, too?
Don't get me lying.
Because I know that's an Abrams film, but I
Yeah.
can't remember if it was... They actually show an alien kind of...
I thought if it was
escaping
Cloverfield, Cloverfield was in the title.
Yeah, it may be. I just know a lot of people have tried to tie it to it, so I don't know if it actually was or not.
So there's a YouTube channel out there called Dust, and it's a similar sort of concept as Death, Love, and Robots. It's,
Anthology series type thing.
it's just sci-fi shorts, and they're all animated. Most of this channel is the hyper realistic style animation. There's not so many cartoons on there.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of deal. They're shorts, and a lot of them like don't tell you the whole story. They just kind of
Leave you
ends,
wondering.
you know. And I really like that for
Yeah.
shorts like that.
Well, and also going back to the backstory of this, so when David Fincher approached Tim Miller about doing this theory, they were eventually going to option to do a heavy metal to get with the creators of Heavy Metal magazine, and do a show, and it didn't work out with them. Which, you know, Heavy Metal magazine, that was its shtick, right? It was a bunch of just short stories, and you know, and they were adult oriented, for the most part.
This is adult.
It is very adult oriented. Lots of
The second
violence.
season doesn't have any nudity. The first
it does.
The first one did.
It has one very large piece of nudity.
Oh, yeah. I forgot about that.
Yeah.
You kind of see it attached to the giant, but it's
Yeah,
not
but
until
no.
it's in the tank.
It's not until it's in the tank that you really.
I did forget about that.
Yeah. So that was about it as far. Yeah, compared to first season.
Yeah.
First season had way more.
Yeah.
Now there was implied sexual situations.
And this is just a studio of people, right? And then I guess they kind of pick who's the best.
No, it's not just Blur.
students?
So Blur did a lot of Tim Miller's did a lot of the shorts in it, but not all of them.
Yeah.
So they did outsource to some other.
Because I had thought I had
Studios
seen
and
somewhere
writers.
on Volume 1 that it was actually some kind of like a project, like people could get in and like submit their own kind of thing.
Yeah, and I think that did happen for season 2.
Yeah.
I like I said, COVID probably changed a lot of stuff for it. It is option for a season 3.
Yeah, well,
still
that makes sense. I mean, it
Yeah.
takes you an hour and a half to watch all of it, the whole season.
Yeah.
I love anthology series. I loved watching Tales from the Crypt when it was
Tales
on
from the Crypt is one of my favorites.
You know, I love just being able to watch this neat little self-contained story.
Yeah.
they're
Right?
making new episodes of Creepshow. You can watch that on Shudder.
Oh yeah.
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
It's kind of cheesy, but that's part of the
that was
fun
the
of
whole
it.
shtick
Yeah,
of it,
that was the
right?
whole thing,
That
right?
that's been its shtick even back in the EC comic days. It was Tales from the Crypt. Like the hosts were sitting there ragging on each other the whole time.
Yeah.
You know, telling their stories and everything. Which it was supposed to get rebooted. That fell through. M. Night Shyamalan was supposed to reboot Tales from the Crypt, and that fell through. Like
I think they had I can't remember who the host was, but they had a host and everything lined up for it.
yeah, they can't for whatever reason. Nobody can use the Crypt Keeper anymore.
Yeah.
Because
Somebody randomly probably.
well, it has to do with HBO.
Oh.
Like HBO now owns the rights to the character.
What would they use him in? He's like his own thing.
Just not let anybody else use them, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That seems,
There's-
seems like a waste of money in somebody's pocket.
Yeah. So I mean, they could use one of the other hosts from the comics.
Yeah.
From the old DC comics, but
I mean, they're still making a comic book about it. It's not exactly the same thing, but I mean there are Crypt books still coming out.
yeah, I don't.
It's a magazine.
I don't know. You know, it's licensing. It's legalese. Who knows? But no, I definitely like Love, Death, and Robots. Like I said, I like that format of telling stories. Which, I mean, we talked last week.
Yeah.
That's probably what Warhammer Plus is going to kind of be, right?
Depending on, I think some of the series is. Well, you said for sure there is one that is an
Hammer and
anthology.
Bolter
Yeah.
is an anthology.
yeah. So,
Which is, I think you need that for some of those things.
I think when a universe is huge, I think Star Wars could do well with an anthology type series, right? Yeah. Where you tell these small stories inside,
and they can be animated.
And we're getting that with What If, a little bit.
Yeah, with Marvel. Yeah,
on the Marvel side, I think it's a neat way to tell the stories that you just don't want to focus an entire season. Of stuff on, right? And then if it's popular, and that's the thing is it can be what they call a backdoor pilot for something else, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, you could do like instead of an anthology one-off, the anthology series like American Horror Story does.
Oh yeah, where each season has its own story.
It's a season of one thing, and then you're done with it. But you can still use those same actors
until
or whatever.
4 seasons in, the creators decide, oh no, they're actually connected.
We fooled you.
That Tanner's a little bitter.
I think it's dumb.
I haven't seen any of them. I've always kind of wanted to watch it, but then I'm like, I just don't know.
Well, it's like with A Quiet Place. Like my boss at the other job, he kind of agrees with me that he didn't want them to make a sequel, but maybe a different story from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Like their experience, right?
Walking Dead, where you're on the West Coast, and
and there's still the mystery of it out there.
Yeah.
But it's just a different snapshot of something else that's going on, which I know they're running into new people, and you're going to get that.
Yeah.
But you don't have to have the same characters,
right,
throughout. So yeah, Love, Death, and Robots. If you're okay with violence, nudity, language.
And not all of them have that.
Not all of them do.
There's some of them. It's just interesting to see somebody come up with a little story like that, and then and then some of them you're like, wait, that's it.
You
need a little bit more, but you're not gonna get it.
Yeah.
The junkyard one with
the old man,
the garbage monster. That was a good one.
Yeah, I liked the shapeshifter one from season 1, the werewolves.
Yeah,
that was one of my favorite ones. I
like the Russian vampire hunter one.
Yes.
I love any kind of like alternate weird history type stuff. I always think that's really cool.
The season 2 ones really stuck with me that much.
No, like I said, the snow one, just because
snow was pretty good.
I just but I think outside of that, and that one felt like I had some resolve too, right? Because he's basically immortal, and then the synthetic chick, she's not going anywhere. So.
Yeah, cyborg, whatever. Yeah, no, I think the Christmas one was my favorite just because it made me laugh.
Yeah.
I just thought it was just hilarious.
Speaking of ones that make me laugh, the one with the old lady with the robotic vacuum.
Oh,
that was pretty funny too.
That was the first.
That was the first one.
Episode.
Yeah, in season 2 was the vacuum. Yeah, that was pretty good.
And the train one was just kind of weird to me. I'm like, okay, where they have the
where he goes off into the the tall grass.
Yeah, high grass. Yeah, I think high grass. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like I said, they're all good for what they are, but I agree with you. I think season 1 had kind of the more standout ones that you'd be like, the good ones are the ones where you'd be like, I'd like to see them go back to that, or make a series out of that.
Yeah, make more. And I was kind of thinking maybe when this first came out that's what was going to happen.
It could still,
that they were going to be like, okay, we got a lot of feedback on this one. That's the one we're going to take off with.
Which back in the 90s. Tanner, you shouldn't remember this because you were probably still in diapers. You may vaguely remember this. So there was an anthology sci-fi show on MTV called Liquid Television, and that's where a show called Eon Flux kind of was a.
That sounds somewhat familiar.
I'd seen the movie Eon Flux.
So that's based on. So it was introduced in Liquid Television, became a series, an animated series, and then later became a feature film. Okay. So that's the hope, right? That the really good,
whatever really catches,
makes something bigger. So Love, Death, and Robots on Netflix right now.
See, we were just talking about last week.
That we don't watch Netflix anymore.
You don't ever use your Netflix account.
Yeah,
there you go.
No, I did.
You got your $18 worth this month.
There we go.
I don't know if that was $18 worth, but
luckily my daughter's still watching stuff on it. So
Darren and I were talking the other day how cool it would be if you just every week Disney Plus has a new something coming out. I would pay an extra $5 every week to see Star Wars episodes in theaters. Just make it part of your package. Make agreement with the theaters. I know this is kind of a sidetrack, but we were kind of talking about like every new episode of Loki. You can watch it in theaters that week.
Oh, wow.
You know what I mean? Instead of having to watch it at home, you can still experience it.
Yeah.
You just pay an extra money. they'd get more money out of you. But I mean, it's
I would do that if I still have if I could watch either place because I'm not gonna have time to go to the theater every
no,
week.
yeah, it'd be in addition to your Disney Plus.
Yeah.
Right. So you can still watch it at home, but it'd be like a premiere access all the time.
I think the sell on that's going to be the theaters, right?
Well, they'd still make their popcorn money. I mean, that's still bringing people in. That's where they make.
But
the money anyway.
with the short episode though, you're having to flip the theater a lot more often, and that's labor and stuff like that. So
yeah, I mean, you could figure. I think it still could be figure something. And maybe not like a 30-minute. Maybe they give a time restraint if it's at least an hour or whatever,
or hold back a couple episodes and do like a 2-episode
like once a
marathon.
Do it at the end of the season.
Just do it.
Make if you want to hold off and watch it all at once.
Yeah, just
in
do
the theater.
You can binge.
As long as you get pee
binge at the
breaks.
theater.
Pee breaks after every episode.
Yeah, they do an intermission every
15-minute
2
intermission.
hours.
It depends on what you're watching because like a lot of the Mandalorian average 20 and 25 minutes an episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean that's still with the amount of episodes. That's only a long movie.
Yeah, I think most of their seasons they're trying to keep them around the Marvel ones for sure around 6 hours.
Yeah.
And I think Star Wars is around the same. So you would think basically, and they already kind of do this when they have like Lord of the Rings marathon.
Yeah, watch 3 hours and have an intermission.
Saying hi to Lazy Gamer.
What's up?
He says, "Yo, what's up?" So, all right. Speaking of Loki,
Oh,
it's coming.
it's coming next week.
Next a week from yesterday as we record this.
Next time we record a podcast, we'll have seen.
We'll
the
have
first
seen
episode.
it because now we can actually watch it ahead of time.
Yeah, it'll be way better for our schedule.
I will be nowhere near internet access when it actually comes out.
Well, you'll have enough time to maybe watch it on your way back from your trip.
Yeah, I mean, so yeah, it's coming.
I'm excited. They showed a little bit more excerpts today and a little bit more yesterday, kind of these little teasers to get you more intrigued, as if I wasn't already super intrigued. I mean, I think I'm more excited about this than I have been the other 2 shows.
Loki sliding around timelines.
Yeah, seeing how much more. I was wondering the other day when I saw the trailer, I was like, are they going to show him how far he's come? Because you got to think, like him and Gamora, they both are completely different people now.
Right.
So are they gonna figure out where their actual space was in the time that they were killed, or you know what I mean? And if the other thing, they keep saying they're not gonna bring Black Widow back, but like they brought Gamora and Loki back. So you telling me that they're not gonna bring her back? So
unless the Soul Stone sacrifice kills you in every conceivable timeline.
Yeah. So I don't think so.
Like King the Conqueror is like, yes, I want that weapon because I want to kill people in every conceivable timeline.
Or she'll just be the clone that she was in the comic books.
I think Loki will get the best of both worlds from Falcon and Winter Soldier and WandaVision because there should be plenty to speculate, which was the fun of WandaVision.
Yeah.
But I bet it's going to be more engaging.
Because knowing that he's going to be messing with timeline events, you're going to be like, okay, so what's he going to be messing with next time?
Well, and here we're going to kind of see the kind of the nature versus nurture, right?
Yeah.
So main MCU timeline, Loki,
how far he came.
He grew, right? Yeah. And kind of became very heroic.
And this is Loki at the very end of the first Avengers
his environment is now completely different. Will he follow that same path, or will he, stay who he was, right?
Yeah.
Or will he get to that same end point, but just a completely different path, right?
Yeah.
Is kind of the, is it destiny that he will be a,
maybe
the hero?
It'll be kind of like what we've seen in the first couple episodes of MODOK, where he's like, I was destined to rule the world.
Or will Thanos?
And he's coming back to kill himself because he doesn't like that he's not ruling the world, and he's married and has kids.
In the middle of a divorce.
He probably still gets choked out by Thanos at the end, though.
Yeah.
So,
So
Loki. All right, Bad Batch. This was. Oh, yes, I remember this episode.
Yeah. So we were talking last week how we should have more
cameos of people we've
Bad
seen.
Batch. I did not expect the Rancor to be the cameo for the week.
Moochie.
Yeah, Moochie. Poor Moochie. Luke took care of you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's trying to eat him. So
I still think like all the nerds are going to be crying now when they go back to watch
Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. They'd be like, no, Moochie.
Don't give it a name. Yeah. I don't want to care.
Baby, why doesn't everybody call it just Baby Rancor? And why isn't there like pops?
Oh, instead of Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
I don't think it's gonna
There
happen.
probably will be a pop.
Yeah.
We'll see.
So it's kind of set up they kind of have a base of operations now, right? The kind of the setup of this episode is now the Bad Batch has kind of like they have a connection. They kind of have a home base of somebody that they're
making money.
Yeah, so they're mercs now.
Yep,
officially, so it makes sense now that we're going to see probably a lot more crossover with things we've seen in the Mandalorian because those that it's kind of that scum world now, right?
Yeah, we'll see some. We may see some more of the. Again, maybe not the Rebels characters we see in the Rebels TV show itself, but some of the older characters, in between those two timelines, and of course some of the people that are from the Clone Wars.
We're going to see Boba
right there.
At some point. We're going to see Boba Fett. There's no way that they don't.
Yeah, but here's how old are we going to see Boba? Is he still going to be the teenager that he kind of is right now?
He was a teenager in Clone Wars.
Yeah. So, and he's still in that timeline.
Yeah.
So, I think it's going to be interesting to see where he's at.
Yeah.
Yeah, he can't be that old because Order 66 just happened.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, because like I said, you see him in the Clone Wars.
Yeah. He's in the cartoons and all that kind of stuff, and he's just a younger.
Yeah. He's not as young as he was in Episode 2, but he's just older.
Yeah.
Probably about Kanan's age.
I will say, I read if you're reading the War of the Bounty Hunter stuff, I was reading the Star Wars comic just a second ago, and the issue for this week, and Boba in that issue is just like, no, people don't steal from me. And they're like, but you're only one guy. What are you going to do about it? I'm Boba Fett. And he just keeps saying that, like, I'm Boba Fett. You don't do that. And I just think it's awesome, like, how into himself he is.
The ego on this guy. Well, and they kind of set that up in Empire, in Return. He's kind of like schmoozing with the ladies, and he's just kind of sitting there in the palace, just kind of being a BA. Right? And then he gets eaten by a sphincter in the ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny
the sphincter with teeth.
In that issue, there's a guy who's like, no.
That's the episode
Sarlacc
title.
Says what?
No, the episode title is Sphincter with Teeth.
Yeah.
Boom. Episode 24.
There's a guy who said, I see your future. It's a sea of red and blood everywhere. And I was like, oh.
There we go.
Yeah. He just talked about him going in this sphincter with teeth you're talking about.
Yes.
No, it was a good issue. I'm really excited about that stuff. But yeah,
so
back to this.
So how many issues is War of the Bounty Hunters up there?
So you don't really have to read everything. I would say you have to read at least Alpha, like Dr. Aphra. I just read that one and I was like, I didn't really have anything to do with anything. But I mean, she's going to be in the storyline going forward.
Right.
The main Star Wars book, the Bounty Hunters book, and then the War of Bounty Hunters book that's going on right now.
Okay.
The last issue of Vader is supposed to be tied into it.
Yeah, Vader. I just read the Vader one as well. The Vader one was interesting. It ties into it, but it's kind of like him getting put back together after the battle, and him getting really like going back to the dark side, and like how he's going to be more about killing Luke.
Okay.
So would you say it's going to be more of a King in Black kind of crossover as opposed to like a Ten of Swords where the tie-ins are kind of tied in but not really, as opposed to being a critical part of the story?
The main book, the Bounty Hunter book, and Vader, they all had, I felt like they were tied in.
Okay.
The only one so far that I've read, Aphra, didn't really, until at the very end, it's like there's a reason for them to kind of get into it. Mm-hmm. But I think the other ones they do lead in so far. But I still think you could kind of get the understanding just reading the main storybook. Yeah. So, but we'll see when the rest of them, because this goes all the way through October.
Oh, wow.
All the Star Wars books.
Wow,
that's a lot of books.
That's a long crossover.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but I mean, they only have 4 titles.
That's true, too.
So, plus the Bounty Hunter, the War of the Bounty Hunter book. So, it's like 5 books.
Okay.
So, I mean, it seems like a lot, but I mean, it's only 4 books a month. So once a week you're reading something basically about, or one week out of the month you're reading this or that.
So Bad Batch, that's kind of the most of what's happened.
Yeah.
There's just not a ton to talk about with Bad Batch, I think.
Is episode 4 that we just watched?
Yes.
I don't even know how many episodes it is.
I believe so.
I know that a lot of the Clone Wars stuff and Rebels were between 14 and 20 episodes. So, I don't know how many this one's going to have.
Yeah, I was wondering if this is going to be the last one or if it's going to run simultaneously with Loki.
Yeah. Well, it's on different days now, and I think that's another. I know they said that they did that with comic book.
Yeah.
They because Loki's going to be on Wednesdays now. So I think eventually they're probably going to want to have just like your regular TV. You want to have something coming out every day.
Well, especially as much content as they want to be pumping out, because they listed a bunch of Star Wars show that we talked several episodes ago now when we were going over all the Disney Plus upcomings.
Yeah, I think that if it keeps running, it'll be maybe the first season. If I'm sure they're planning on having multiple seasons.
Yeah,
maybe the first season's shorter, and then they'll decide to go from where. Because they're still only like 25, 30-minute episodes. They're not very long. Except for the first one. The first one was an hour.
I think the average Clone Wars season was 24 episodes.
Yeah, which most your TV shows
usually are, but
when they're 30 minutes long.
Disney Plus kind of flips the paradigm on a lot of stuff, right? Because the original Clone Wars was airing for Cartoon Network, who bought a lot of, a package episode deal kind of a thing.
Right. Disney
Plus just does.
Yeah.
They are producing it, so they don't buy the episodes and they don't buy the block. They can just kind of do whatever they feel like doing.
Yeah. So. I would think that they would want quite a few episodes. I mean, you want people coming back. So if you can say, hey, we want 20 weeks worth of stuff to make sure we have people subscribing for 20 weeks. I mean, that's the way they're looking at it.
And animation's cheap to produce.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, as far as production costs go, compared to The Mandalorian,
which is a lot.
Yeah, they're making episodes for quite a bit less.
Yeah.
Than they would be live action or live-ish action.
We did get more action in this episode, which was good. Yeah. The Rain Corps battle, all that kind of stuff. And then
Wrecker and Moochie just going at it, just because, just to show dominance. Yeah. Wrecker just constantly punches them.
So I think overall it's getting there. We just got to get past all this character development. That's always the hard part about starting new shows.
So you're wearing the perfect shirt for our main subject tonight.
Da-da-da.
Yeah. That is our unknown enigma turned into a bounty hunter.
Is that the dude? Is that the actual name? The Enigma? Is that
that's what I've called him, as the Enigma. But eventually we're going to have some different artists create different enigmas.
I call him Hush Dude.
Yep.
I call him the librarian. Shh.
But it's cool. Amy actually changed the background to more of like a...
you can kind of see more Tatooine looking space.
We've got more than one
twin
moon.
suns.
Yep. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. For sale on our website right now.
Yep. She did a good job with that. So.
And no copyright trademark violation at all.
It's completely made from scratch.
So yeah, we're transitioning. Our main discussion topic is we're going to transition from Star Wars because
from Star Wars to Star Wars.
Yeah, because we've been talking about Star Wars. we're going to kind of go down this rabbit hole because we haven't really ever talked about who our favorite Star Wars characters are, what our favorite Star Wars story arcs are.
That's a big giant starfish.
So anybody in chat listening or in the comics and YouTube, let us know who your favorite Star Wars characters are, your favorite Star Wars story arcs, movies, books, comic titles. So we'll all get a little chance to speak. So Chris, you go first.
Dang it! I was hoping I wouldn't go first.
You were the
man. As far as like being a Star Wars fanatic, it's like new to me. Even though I've watched it all my life, I haven't let myself like dive deep into it. So you guys have been doing that longer than I have. But I mean, as far as characters go, that's hard. I would have to say book-wise, it's Bane.
Oh, the Sith Lord Bane?
Yeah.
Darth Bane?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just think I haven't finished all of his books yet, but his story arc is really cool.
Yeah.
Just coming from, a mine to becoming, a Sith apprentice to rising all the way up to where he did and then changing the entire Sith order.
Right.
So I mean, he's pretty cool. I'm still doing some stuff with Revan. I know a lot of people like Revan. But I think as far as characters go, that's probably my favorite. If you're talking about movies, TV shows, I don't know. That's hard. That's harder.
Yeah.
For me, I know my kids could say like Leland. He'd be like Vader. He just He called him Lord Vader I was like, dude, you got to quit calling him Lord Vader. Darth Vader.
You start having them knock on people's doors. That's what they want to talk about.
You're
Lord
getting
Vader.
too close to the dark side here, son. You need to get Obi-Wan on your mantle and call him Jesus. I mean, that's what.
Have you heard about the one who will unify our galaxy? Our Lord Vader.
He is the chosen one.
Lazy Gamer likes Rogue One, which, yes, Rogue One
Rogue
was.
One's probably my favorite
Yeah.
of the Disney produced movies.
Yeah. I mean, in general, I think all the Star Wars movies, I could say. I mean, I like all the other ones, right? But I think in general, that's my favorite one.
Yeah.
So that one, and I liked Solo a lot. So that was a really good movie too.
Tanner.
So none of my favorites.
I'm going to go last because I will never shut up. So
None of my favorite stuff is canon anymore. It's all
well,
legends.
none of his was either. So.
Yeah.
So for favorite characters, it's probably Coran Horn.
Okay.
He's from the Rogue Squadron stuff.
Yeah.
Either it's between that and the group of clones in Star Wars Republic Commando,
Oh,
the video
yeah.
game, and the Karen.
Well,
Travis
there were two. There were two different.
They're about to
two
do
squads.
They're about to do
Those are
something with that one of those squads, right?
There's two squads,
something.
and then there was a group of ARC troopers that kind of
Yeah.
I think the ARC Troopers is what I've seen something with. They're supposed to be doing something with them.
okay, the Knoll troopers that were kind of off the books for the Camino ones because they were kind of like the Bad Batch. They were rejects.
Yeah.
But
No,
yeah.
I loved the Republic Commando video game. I thought it was
The
like
game was so much fun.
Yeah.
And I enjoyed the books, especially because it attempted to tie up the cliffhanger of the game, but then, of course, the Disney deal happened and the series got canned.
right.
Dang.
It had one book that happened after the game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, yeah.
That was... they actually changed the name of the series to Imperial Commando.
That's right. Well, it that happened earlier because that happened before Revenge of the Sith came out. Republic Commando came out like in 04 or something.
Right.
Like
So the game came out, and then there were two prequel novels.
Right.
Then there was the novel that covered the game itself, and then there was a post-game novel.
Okay.
And then
That was Imperial Commando.
So Lucas Publishing didn't get along with Kieran Travis because she just did whatever she wanted.
Yeah.
And so they fired her, hired a new author that wrote Imperial Commando, and then Disney axed all that
fizzled it.
stuff.
Yeah. All right. So Jay Manning says favorite arc Maul during the Clone Wars. Favorite character Thrawn. Yeah. No. Thrawn's
great.
Thrawn's probably one of the most popular EU
Yeah.
characters.
And Maul, if you've read his book, it's kind of after the where he's in a prison. That was a pretty crazy book.
Yeah.
It's kind of based during when he's still an apprentice and all this kind of stuff, and he's trying to prove himself that he's worthy to. It's before he gets the task to go and after the Jedi and all this kind of stuff. But it's a pretty cool book too. So I mean, he's got some cool stuff out there.
I will say, kind of going back to the Bad Batch a little bit, my favorite bad guy, this is the one thing I am excited about for Bad Batch, is Tarkin.
Yeah.
Getting to see more stuff with Tarkin.
Well, and we got to see more of him in Rogue One. I think that's another reason we liked Rogue One is we got to see him just be
he's
a complete
evil.
a-hole.
He's
right.
mean.
You know?
Yeah. And now you're seeing, because you see him at the end of the Clone Wars, that final season, you kind of start seeing him become this a-hole.
Like if
yeah,
if Tarkin was force sensitive, like
he would be a bastard.
he would make a Palpatine like a little B word.
Yeah. Yeah. Tarkin is something else, that's for sure.
Yeah. Lazy Gamer's favorite old school game, Shadows of the Empire for the N64. The Hoth level was awesome. Yep. I played it. I didn't have an N64, but my buddy did, and he played Shadows of the Empire all the time. That and the original Rogue Squadron on N64. All right. You ready?
I'm scared. You've had all day to research.
Just no. So I've lived and breathed Star Wars my entire life, right? It's just always been a thing. I didn't read a lot of the what are now the Legends novels. I did some later. I did read a lot of the Dark Horse arcs. So my favorite, probably to this day, my favorite arc is tied between two different of the Dark Horse arcs. There was the Knights of the Old Republic series, which
we're supposed to still be getting movies from Rian Johnson. We'll see how that works out.
So this was actually before the Old Republic game. So this is even 1,000 years prior to that.
Yeah.
So these characters are mentioned in the original Knights of the Republic game, just kind of like small little mentions. But so the Tales of the Jedi was how they packaged a lot of that stuff. Those were really good arcs, and a lot of my favorite characters like Exar Kun and Ulic Qel-Droma come out of the Tales of the Jedi. So Jay Manning's my brother-in-law. Yes, he knows it's my entire damn life. He knows a mutual friend of mine that we were just pretty huge Star Wars nerds together.
Yep.
So that was a big one, and then the Rogue Squadron comics, the X-Wing comics, more so for the Imperial characters. I love the X-Wing and TIE Fighter video games, the flight sim games. So I loved space combat.
Yep.
Which is why I love like X-Wing.
Yeah.
Stuff like that, which you can see we have X-Wing stuff on the wall because we're actually filming a X-Wing battle report later this evening. Yeah. I love the characters in that. Soontir Fel is one of my favorite characters. He's a TIE pilot that ends up defecting to the rebellion, but he was never like sold on the rebellion. Just great dynamic characters.
So have you read the new Squadron series?
Yes.
Okay.
Alphabet Squadron.
I'm starting that.
Alphabet Squadron is actually really good.
Book, so.
They're tapping into that a little bit, but it's got its own got its own take on it. I'm about 3/4 of the way through the first book.
Yeah.
Of Alphabet Squadron.
I'm probably not much further behind you.
Probably not. No.
But it's been good so far.
Yeah.
But not knowing a lot of the characters or what's happening, I'm like,
yeah.
Okay, I feel like I'm missing something.
Which it also tied into, so Star Wars Squadrons came out this year.
Yeah.
There are some loose tie-ins to some of the characters in that as well. So that was one of the reasons I started reading Alphabet Squadron.
Yeah.
But I like stories from the boots on the ground people, right?
Yeah.
Like the Jedi stuff's cool.
Yeah.
It's neat.
It's cool to expand that universe, though. Yeah.
That's a lot of why I like the Clone Wars stuff so much.
Yeah.
Because it focuses on the aspect from the clones.
Yeah. Yeah. It's and like you got a snapshot of it in Solo, but that was the first time you ever saw just the regular Imperial infantry.
Yeah.
And like they exist.
Yeah. Well, before that,
they're not. It's not just stormtroopers.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them.
There's conscripts and all kinds of things going on there. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that until Solo.
Yeah, that they actually had just conscripted military that weren't part of the stormtrooper program. Which that's what I'm hoping Bad Batch gets us to. I want to find out what the true origins, because there was always speculation on what the origins of the stormtrooper program was, and why.
Like these cartoons or the Mandalorian, they're a way of definitely giving us good explanations for that. And knowing Dave Filoni and the big huge fan that he is, I think he wants to be a part of those explanations.
Well, and so when you walk in, when the office is set up, it's tore up right now because I've been painting all day. But when you walk in, you see a line of Stormtrooper action figures across the counter.
Yep.
So that's my favorite thing about Star Wars is Stormtroopers.
All the different masks and stuff.
There's so much scarier in media that's not the movies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because the movies, the good guys have to win, so the bad guys have to die a lot. So they
have to hit their heads on opening doors.
Yeah. They get made fun of, but if you look further than the movies, they're actually really scary.
They're supposed to be super deadly, yeah.
And you see that a little bit in Rogue One, right? Mm-hmm. The death squads and stuff like that. I feel like those movies did a little bit better job with imposing how they are. And even in the Mandalorian, you see it a little bit too. I mean, it's not
until
the same.
Luke shows up.
Yeah, until Luke shows up and they're all, oh crap, a Jedi. Oh my God.
Yeah. Yeah, that's... And so those are my two favorite arcs from the comics. And then anything like I said that revolves kind of around that. Vader is probably one of my favorite characters.
Yeah, I do like Vader a lot,
just because of his arc, right? Yeah. He has that redemption arc, which makes for a great villain, makes for a great hero. Now,
and if you dive deeper into his little bitty stories here and there, and you see all the little things that he's done,
if you just take Anakin out of the movies.
And you go
then
back,
you're okay.
You go back and you watch him, and I don't know. It's like that thing where he is a little extra whiny, but he's 19. Who knows?
And I don't think that the character's so bad because Clone Wars Anakin is definitely not
awesome,
bad.
Yeah.
I think it was just poorly written dialogue.
Yeah,
I don't even think Hayden Christensen's a bad actor. I think it was poorly written dialogue.
I think I'll be honest. I don't think Lucas is one of the best writers.
No.
Period. No. Or directors. I think he got.
He's a world builder. Star Wars. What he did was he built the world for other people to write in.
He's an innovator.
Yeah.
Right. And more than just a creator, he's an innovator. Because you think of all the stuff that Star Wars, Lucasfilms has brought to everything we do and use and create with.
Yeah.
I mean, almost everything can be tied back to Lucasfilms.
Yeah. So I like, luckily, now I say that is, Clone Wars was kind of his baby too before he sold it. But Clone Wars pretty much kind of redeemed that arc, right?
It had to.
It made, because here's the thing is we knew what happened. It was always his intent with the prequels was to connect, this point to this point, right? And how are we getting there? And 3 films was not enough time for us to give half a crap about Anakin Skywalker.
Especially when you jump the entire Clone War.
Yeah.
Well, and when it's such a subtle change from him going from light to dark.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be. When you actually flesh out the story, it's supposed to be such a subtle change that he doesn't realize what's going on.
Yeah. The
And
cartoon gives you a lot more of that in depth of his life changing, right?
Right.
So
yeah, and so I think he did himself a disservice. Of course, I'm the proponent that episode 1 could just be literally the crawler for episode 2. Like everything that happened in 1 could have just been summarized at the beginning of episode 2, and then you pull episode 2.
Have you read Darth Plagueis?
Huh.
So that book, it sets up everything for Palpatine. It sets up everything for behind the scenes that happened because he was still alive.
Yeah,
he was still Palpatine's master, and then Darth Maul was just even though he was an apprentice, he was to Palpatine, and Plagueis, he was just a puppet.
Yeah,
he was never really an apprentice ever.
Right,
because Palpatine was still an apprentice that entire time.
It's kind of the same relationship between Palpatine, Dooku, and Asajj Ventress.
Correct. Yes, but Darth Maul didn't know about Plagueis at all. Mm-hmm. He was completely oblivious to that. He thought that Sidious was the only other Sith.
You're going to be a Sith Lord to own it.
Yeah. So, but the whole. I mean, it sets up all the good stuff. I mean, it sets up like from the get go, Plagueis going into Naboo and finding him and plucking him up and starting to kind of make his way with how he wanted the entire. I mean, like he helped set up the entire thing, and they were supposed to rule and do all this stuff together. And of course, Sith being a Sith,
yeah,
I'm better than you, I'm killing you. So eventually that it gets to that whole point of all that kind of stuff. But I mean, just seeing how they treat each other and what they do to each other, and the ultimate power of needing it.
Yeah,
it's crazy. It's a good book if you haven't had a chance to read it.
Is that Legends or is that canon?
It is literally like a year from canon. It came out the year after.
Oh, no.
Okay,
the year before Disney bought.
Okay, because some stuff did pull over.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have no. I mean, it ties directly in line with everything that happens in the movies, but I still don't think they say it's canon.
Right.
Is same thing with the Darth Maul book that also ties in right after that. It all feeds together.
Here's my thing with canon and Legends, and here's the best way I think to look at it. One, if you enjoy it, read it again. Enjoy it. You're allowed, right? Yeah. Just because it's not canon doesn't mean you're not allowed to enjoy it. And it's all fiction.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It can be whatever fiction you want it to be. But
it's called headcanon.
Right, exactly. Look at it like mythology. Any mythology has multiple ways of telling the same story, right? Yeah. The Legend of Zelda, every game is technically a retelling of the same story.
Yeah.
In just a different way. And that's the creator of Legend of Zelda. That's what he said, that this is the mythology of Link and Zelda, mm-hmm. and different ways of telling it. That's what this is, right? Yep. The universe is too big. There were too many creators involved for it to be this one cohesive. Now, Disney is trying, and is being successful.
And you see them bringing some of that in, even in the newest movies. They had they talk about Revan. They have statues of some of these old Republic characters, the old Sith characters.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to get rid of, especially these.
They matter too
more
much.
well-known characters.
Yeah. Well,
they just haven't had time to bring them into their own story.
Right, and then they're slowly doing it. Like Thrawn was probably the biggest pull.
And we'll see him, I think, in the Ahsoka show for sure.
I hope so.
Or as some kind of main bad guy through all those.
I hope they bring Lars
TV
Mikkelsen in
shows
to actually play him, because his voice acting for Tarkin is like spot on to how I would think.
Now, one thing I want to
like when I read Fall of the Empire. What was the original Thrawn? Heir to the Empire.
Yeah.
Like that's what I imagine Thrawn.
His character is just on so many levels evil.
I do want to see
and systematic.
Yeah, he's just Thrawn, man.
Yeah.
I do want to see more Legends, New Republic heroes brought into the new medias, as opposed to getting new characters. Because we got, that we got the new main characters in the sequel trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
We got the Mando and his buddies.
Yeah.
But we still haven't seen much of Wedge.
Yeah.
Or Karan Horn.
You see him in Star Wars Squadrons.
You
Wedge actually comes in on that one,
and
they actually get the same voice actor for it, or they get him to actually come in and voice it.
You see him in the cartoons a little bit.
Yeah.
But yeah, not so far as actually in the physical.
There's some good characters there that they could do something with.
Yeah, Squadrons for the first time actually canonized Rogue Squadron,
because it was
in the new Disney canon.
It was Wedge that recaptured Coruscant.
Mm-hmm.
In Legends, yes.
In Legends.
in Tanner's head canon.
But I mean, like the newer book that they came out that kind of talks about Obi-Wan and Qui-Gon right before they get the mission to go to Naboo.
Yeah.
That's canon. It's a brand new book. It came out like last year, Master and Apprentice. And it like ties into everything that happened in the Plagueis and the Maul. And so like a lot of these things, I think they're trying to maybe not do a full retcon, but they're trying to find a way to make it make sense.
Yeah, and I think that's what it was. It wasn't that when Disney made that cutoff and said that this is Legends as canon, it was kind of like they were turning the valve off for a second.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on, let's figure out.
Yeah, we got to figure out because
where we want to take the story.
These comics may not make sense to this, or this story might not make sense to this.
Right.
So it's not that they want to get rid of all of it, but they had to say it doesn't make sense yet.
Yeah,
right.
So
because as of right now, we don't know. We don't they brought Thrawn back in, but they haven't brought the Heir to the Empire arc in. Mm-hmm. Because that was very much a New Republic thing.
Yeah.
It happened post Civil War. So whether or not they get to that point, I guess we'll see.
Yeah.
Come Ahsoka, right? But Ahsoka wasn't an Heir to the Empire because she didn't exist yet.
Yeah.
So
right.
There's just a lot of things that you have to juggle when you do that.
They make these awesome characters like Ahsoka after all this stuff has come out. It makes you wonder. They're going to have to do something, because if you go by the Legends canon, you're like, well, what was she doing this whole time when all this major stuff was happening? Right.
Yeah. You have to explain all the news. Well, I mean, you go back and watch Revenge of the Sith. Mm-hmm. It's like that meme I showed you where it shows Rosario Dawson in her Ahsoka makeup.
Yeah.
And she's actually just on her phone in her trailer. And it's like Ahsoka during the Battle of Yavin, Ahsoka during the Battle of Hoth, Ahsoka during the Battle of Endor.
Yeah. She's the Eternals of the Star Wars universe.
There you go.
Well, I mean, she came out and said it in The Mandalorian that she's not part of it. She's staying away, doing her own thing.
Yeah, she's got her own fights. Well, it's kind of the Captain Marvel thing, right?
Yeah.
She's focusing on other parts of the. What did you do?
Yeah, her book is good too. I don't know if you've
oh, nice.
If you've read her book. Her book is also pretty good, where she gets her new lightsabers and all that jazz. So also very good read.
So yeah. All right. Well, we've got exciting stuff coming up. What's exciting for the store and for online, because we'll do probably some live events.
So in 2 weeks. 2 weeks, we have Donnie Cates, Ryan Stegman, Tyler Kirkham, and Benjamin Percy. They'll all be here in store, which is really, really cool.
And they'll be online with us.
Yeah, they'll be online with us, signing, doing things on YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook like we have been doing. But, I mean, it's just really cool to see.
Maybe we can get them on the podcast. I don't know. We'll have to see.
Amarillo have this kind of talent come here. And it's not for a convention. It's not. I mean, we're just bringing them into the store. So I mean, it's just a really, really cool thing to get to say that we're going to have those guys here. Now we've had Tyler here before. He's an amazing guest to have. Yeah. Benjamin Percy, I've never met. Of course, I've met Ryan and Donnie both. So I mean, they're both crazy personalities. So it should be a lot of fun. You've met either of these guys, right?
I've only met Tyler.
Yeah. So it should be a lot of fun. I think we're going to have a couple days worth of signings, doing stuff live, doing stuff here in the store. We'll have sketches, remarks. We'll have, of course, signature stuff. You have a little bit of time to still send stuff in. I think this next week is the deadline.
I think the 12th is the deadline.
Yeah. So if you're wanting to get something in, send an email to sigseries@unknowncomicbooks.com, and they can get you all the info.
Before June 12th.
Before June 12th, yeah. So really, really excited about that. And then going back to childhood memories, as Brandon didn't care about this as much. But for me, one of the first shows I really remember watching was Power Rangers. And even though I'm not like a fan freak, like when I see famous people, it's still pretty cool to know that David Yost is going to be here at the store. The original Blue Ranger, Affirmative, It's Morphin Time, Tyrannosaurus. No, Triceratops. Always a T word. Yeah. So, I mean, it's just...
Man, I barely watched the show.
No, I know. I just thought of T dinosaur and went straight to Tyrannosaurus. It's pretty cool to have him in here. Are you excited about having David here?
Oh yeah,
yeah. So
I remember watching the movie in theaters.
Yeah. I did like the movie.
Oh yeah, they did a movie, didn't they?
Yeah, when they became
Don't
the ninja.
Have such disgust on your face. It was fantastic.
It was awesome at that time, and I think still. I mean, you. As far as what it was when it was, it's not bad.
No, it's not. It's still entertaining.
The other movies that they made were not very good. Like I think they made another one that had the Rocky character and stuff in it, but it wasn't very good. But I liked that one. Ivan the Ooze was kind of weird, but
it's Power Rangers. What do you expect?
It was Power Rangers.
Ranger
yeah.
villain?
So I mean, it was good. I enjoyed that. So it's exciting to have him in store, and then we should have a few more guests in July as well. So I know for sure Jerry Dugan, but there's some more that we're still talking to as well. So
yeah, lots of stuff.
Yep.
Do we have anything special coming up on the YouTubes? We're about to shoot our first bat rep.
First bat rep. We've got some more giveaways down the works. I'm on vacation next week, so we'll get back to it in about 2 weeks.
You'll be here for the podcast, though.
I'll be here for the podcast.
Yeah.
So
I got to keep my record as being the only one that hasn't missed an episode.
That hasn't missed an episode. It'll happen. One day, if I have to slash your tires and you can't get to work, it'll happen.
Well, eventually he's going to have to travel to a couple shows. So unless we're doing podcasts on the road, it's going to happen. You may be solo casting.
I could do it.
You could cast
I
us
can
all
talk
in.
to I can talk to the wall if I needed to.
We're going to have 3 MacBooks in the hotel room. You could pipe us in.
Yeah.
Right.
Just all of a sudden, Tanner's just doesn't connect for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't know why I can't get Tanner on.
He keeps trying to come to my computer.
Get out of the way, Chris.
This is my screen.
It's not going to happen for you. You're going to have a tarnished record. All right. Well, guys, thank you so much again for joining us for the Unknown Comics Podcast, episode 24.
Yep.
That's crazy.
Almost a year. This. Half a year, sorry.
Half a year.
Half a year. My brain says no.
Technically, we've done 25 episodes.
Yeah. There was a...
We will always remember the forgotten episode.
But will we? Did you just... Did you just Hunger Games?
Is that what that is? I don't know what I'm doing. On that note, I'm ending.
Need a Mockingjay whistle right after that, okay?
Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Later.
Bye.